What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Hopefully you've subscribed on iTunes or Google Play or possibly YouTube. Maybe you've subscribed there and you're catching this on the weekly. So if you are, I definitely appreciate that. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Joseph Ferris. Met this man on Twitter, which lately I've been having very good luck with a lot of the people in the Twitter sphere of, you know, the whole podcast, Podner family. A lot of people being very, very nice to be a guest on my show when I ask them, and they're awesome, and I've been really appreciating all the stories they've had, and hopefully that'll continue and everything. So if you guys want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get things started with Joseph Ferris. Do you remember what initially got you interested in games? Was it a family member, friend, like something at the kiosk at a video rental store, or a, you know, Toys R Us, rest in peace? Do you remember what it was that got you started?
I do remember what got me into it. Well, like, I've been told stories about how, like, the day it happened, but, like, I remember just overall, like, being into the PlayStation 1, because that was my first game system. I'm only 23, so for those listening and thinking, oh my god, PlayStation 1, I was in high school when that came out. And I'm like, well, guys, not everyone, yeah.
I was gonna say, like, some people are gonna hear that and go, what the fuck? I feel so old. But, I mean, everybody's gotta start somewhere. I mean, there was a guest that I had on here that their first console was, like, Atari 2600 and that, and I felt like, oh man, I'm actually not as old as he is, but everybody has their first start. It doesn't matter where it happens, as long as it happened, then you're good.
I always love getting asked that question by older people, because then it's just like, that's when they realize, oh man, PlayStation 1.
As long as somebody doesn't tell me their PS2 or Xbox was their first console, then I'm good. And so when somebody says that, I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, that I'm real old. Like, that's just like, what the hell? But
yeah, I went to this IGN house party a while back in, like, 2015. There was, I think the youngest person there was like 11, and they asked him, like, on stage, what was your first video game? And he said, Lego Batman 2, and they're like, oh my god!
Yeah, like, that's just, I couldn't deal with that. I mean, again, like, my son's, that's gonna, you know, his first game he's gonna say is Minecraft, and I'm just, you know, again, somebody else will ask him that and go, oh my god, but also too, I mean, they're kids. I mean, it happens. But you're not a kid. You're in your 20s. I mean, it's a fun time. No big deal.
I still feel like a kid, man.
Well, of course. Wait till you get a mortgage. Then you'll be like, oh no, I'm not a kid anymore. Yeah, really. That's when it'll happen. So, PS1, who got it for you? Or how did you end up acquiring it, I should say?
Well, I saved up a good amount of money. I'm just kidding. What happened was, I think it was...
I like that. I'm totally kidding. I didn't save money. I was a kid.
I was 2 years old, I think, was when I started playing it. I think I barely remember things when I was like 3. I think that was like my first memory. But what my parents told me was that I believe it was my mom's sister got a PlayStation 1 for her birthday or something. And like, her sister was like 14 at the time, maybe. But she never used it. Then she gave it to my older sister, who also never used it. So then I was the one playing the damn thing all the time, and I think it was the first time I got a hold of that system, and I don't remember if it was like Frogger or if it was Crash Bandicoot 2. One of those games was definitely my first game. I always say Crash because, you know, I feel like Crash is just better. But Frogger, you know, has a legacy, of course, but this was just a PlayStation 1 Frogger game, so it wasn't anything like, oh my god. But what she told me was that the first time I played it, she was going out with Dad, and my Aunt Karen was watching me, and she said that I started playing when they were about to leave, and when they came back like 4 or 5 hours later, I was still playing it. So I'm just like, well, some things never change.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I remember, like, back they had those Frogger games. Like, I remember the remake of the Frogger game that ended up happening. Like, that was like... It was weird because around that time there was just all these kind of random remakes of stuff, and like Frogger and then Galaga and Centipede, like all these games were getting PS1ified, which is basically just like they had the old school version of it on there, but then they had the updated 3D crazy looking version. So there was a lot of like flashback style games that were on there that, you know, Frogger's still Frogger. I mean, doesn't give a shit. I mean, now it's Crossy Road, but we
of
won't
course
talk about that, right? God.
There was a Frogger 2 that came out on PlayStation, and there's some things I remember out the game. I just remember loving the hell out of it, and I need to find a copy of it because I want to play it again. It's just like, oh, hey, there's actually a story in Frogger, and there are these crazy-ass levels where, like, floors are falling and everything, and I'm just like, that's nuts. This is crazy. I love it.
Yeah, again, they were going full fucking crazy back in PlayStation 1 era because, like, also, too, games were cheaper to make because cartridges weren't so expensive. CDs were a lot easier to produce. And I mean, there was a ton of shit that was on there that, of course, I'll take an educated guess and say about 85% of it was not that great, or it was just sequels. I mean, there was also Frogger 2. Like, you'd imagine there'd be a Frogger 2 in the fucking 20 years or something of that, you know, like 15 years maybe at the time. There'd be a second Frogger game, but I guess, you know, it took place. And I'm sure on the cover there was some edgy quote like, he's back. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's Frogger. What are we talking about right now?
Like, come on. And Pitfall had like a gritty ass, like, what the fuck was that? Like,
again, man, edgy. It's the 90s, bro. Edgy.
Yeah, the 90s was super edgy. I remember seeing that game, like, for some reason, I don't know how my family came across it. We had a PS1 demo disc with all these demos on it.
Of course.
And I'm just thinking, now that I'm old enough, I'm thinking, how did they get their hands on that? Like, whatever. So there had a number of different demos on there. I barely remember some of them. One of them was like a Crash 2 one, but I'm like, hey, I already have Crash, why am I playing this? And then SSX, I think it was. But then there was Pitfall, and when I rediscovered that demo disc when I was like 12 or 13 and actually knew what Pitfall on the Atari was, I looked at this like, what the hell is this? Everything's dark. The dude's all serious, and it's just like, guys, it's Pitfall. Like,
yeah, I just had to go because I remember the cover, and it's called Pitfall 3D Beyond the Jungle, and it's like, and of course 3D had to be in the title because if it was a PlayStation game, it said 3D. If it was a 64 game, if it was a 64 game, it said 64 because. Of course, like, you had to be on brand, right? But then I remember there was a Pitfall game that was on Genesis where they tried to, like, get a little edgier, too, because there was another one called Pitfall the Mine Adventure. That's the other cover I remembered. But, yeah, dude, like, again, they were trying to get edgy with everything. And, you know, Frogger 2, I'm scared to Google Frogger 2. I mean,
Frogger 2 wasn't that edgy from what I remember.
It was,
but I also
Swampy's Revenge. Oh, man, that shit got an 8.5 from IGN, so.
Damn, son.
I mean.
I didn't even know IGN was around back then. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, initially released in 2000. I mean.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense, but, dude, man. Shit got real, man. Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge. Who the fuck is Swampy?
He's just some angry-ass crocodile, I think it was. They had, like, these ridiculously, like, CGI cutscenes pre-rendered and stuff.
That's
so it was
so
like
awesome.
a movie.
Dude, Atari was trying everything to hang on to not going to bankruptcy. They're like, maybe people will give a shit about this.
And now they don't give a shit at all to this day.
Yeah, exactly. Poor Atari. I mean, now they had that again. Now some of these older companies, they just rely on the flashback bundles or, you know, $20 for 40 games of, you know, like just basic games like baseball or Joust or just, I loved how the old school games like the Atari 2600 games and stuff. What was the name of the game? It was like football. Like,
just football.
It was fucking football. Like, it wasn't fancy. It wasn't, because obviously licenses back then just weren't a thing. So it was just like, what's the name of this game? Football. All right, cool. Soccer. And of course, if you thought hockey was anything different than Pong, you were fucking stupid because it was just the same game. I mean, like, they always had those Pong clones as well. But yeah, dude, PlayStation 1, man, they started taking risks like Frogger 2, Swampy's Revenge.
The riskiest risks.
Of course,
my
man.
lord.
But again, man, I mean, obviously, it stuck with you because that shit got an 8.5. I mean, it's not a bad game.
It's not.
It's not. So, I mean, good for them. Did you have, like you were saying, so like you didn't actually have, like it was passed down. Like some people in your family didn't really care for it or want it or whatever. So did you have any like family members to play games with or friends growing up playing games?
Friends, a lot of friends, definitely. I have this friend from kindergarten. I'm going to give him a shout out, Brandon. If you're listening, I probably gave you the link to this. I don't know, hopefully. But I got to remember to do that now. Otherwise, he's just going to get mad at me. Right. But yeah, he was like my first real friend in kindergarten, and he was a neighbor as well because the elementary school was just in the dead smack center of the neighborhood, like most schools are. I think I don't know.
So awesome.
Yeah, so he was just like a 3-minute walk away probably. So he introduced me to Nintendo. Basically, he had a Nintendo 64. I was a PlayStation 1 kid, so I mainly went to his house more often than not. And he introduced me to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And I was just thinking, okay, this is kind of cool. I played this on the Game Boy Color, and my first Zelda game was on the Game Boy Color, which was a gift for my sister who didn't use the fucking thing. So I'm just like, guys, yeah, I'm 6 years old. You should know by now that I'm the one who plays games.
Yeah, why
in this
did they?
damn family.
Did they show like some interest in it at some point, and then they were just like got it, and they were like, I'm over this shit. Like
that's probably what happened.
I guess, man, because that shit happens sometimes. Like sometimes kids will be interested in something and then they get it and they're not as interested. Which, by the way, as a parent who buys that gift for that person, makes you want to throw something. Just fucking furious. Because, example, my son for like 3 years would not shut up about this Optimus Prime. It was Ultimate Optimus Prime from Transformers 2. Which, by the way, Transformers 2. The movies, not the awesome cartoon. Those movies, because that's how my son knows Transformers. Sadly. Yeah. Anyways, it was this Ultimate Optimus Prime. It came with the fucking semi that literally transformed into like the wings on his back. It had like everything. This shit was like $130 or something like that.
Oh my god!
And it was like the one present that he just didn't get every year because I was just like, I don't want to fucking buy him that. That's just so much money. And one year we just kind of ran out of gifts ideas, and I was like, whatever. He's been wanting it for years. Let's get it for him. And then, of course, Santa brought it for him. I didn't because if you're listening in the car with kids, Santa's real, kids. Anyways.
That's true.
So he got it for Christmas, and he played with it, and he loved it. And, of course, it took him 12 hours to figure out how to open it and build it because it was fucking complicated, even for an adult. I was like, Jesus, this shit should be meant for me, not a 6-year-old. And then got bored with it about a month later.
Yeah,
and I was like, I wanted to cry, and of course, I was like, this sucks. And of course, it's not worth anything because he messed up transforming it one too many times, and now this thing's loose and this thing's not popping in right. So I'm just like, I got to see him happy on Christmas, so that's all I can ask for.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but yeah, every time they fucked up, you got something cool, so good for them.
Exactly, yeah. So they weren't really mad because, at least they got some use out of it and stuff. But yeah, I was actually like that too. Like, I remember I wanted toys too when I was a kid, of course. But I always wound up just like, I'm bored of this. I remember getting this, like, expensive-ass Hummer RC, like, car thing, because I thought Hummers were the coolest shit back then. And so I remember playing with it just on Christmas Day, and I never touched it again. I don't know if, like, they sold it because they knew I wasn't going to fucking touch it again or whatever. All I remember was that was the last year I got, like, a lot of toys, because, like, toys were just, it was all about games for me, like, my whole life, seriously.
So, I mean, at one point in time, like, obviously when they started mentioning, or noticing, I should say, that all the video games started heading your direction, did they just kind of get over the toys? Because, like, there is that certain age where you go from playing with toys to wanting to play with video games instead. So that's kind of what happened with my kids. They got to a point where that happened.
Yeah, totally. That's there was a Christmas, I don't remember, it was like 2004 maybe. For some reason I just got bombarded with gifts that we could, like, toys and stuff that could barely fit in our car. And my mom was just livid that day because, like, she was thinking I got too many damn toys. And I don't even remember a single one of those damn things anymore. So and then the year after that, I got significantly less toys. So that was like the turning point where they were just like, why are we getting this damn kid toys? Yeah, he only plays video games, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. You get to that point where I think all kids to that point where you get to the age where it's just like, okay, toys don't work anymore, electronics do. And, you know, it just, each kid's different, but now, of course, there's a billion electronics kids can have, like whether it's, you know, smartphone, tablet, you know, smartwatch.
Hey, it reduces clutter, you know?
Hoverboards, stupid shit like that.
Oh my God.
All those fun things and everything. So, yeah, that tends to happen. I think I want to say, I guess it just depends on the age. I'd say my son around like 9 or 10, and my daughter, same thing. Like, now my daughter's more into like, I want to get makeup and nail polish and a purse and cool things like that. And my son's just like, don't even bother getting me shit besides video games. Like, my son's like, don't bother. So
yeah, that's good.
That's always fun.
That's really good. Yeah.
So eventually with the Christmas stuff, you started getting video games instead. Were most of your gifts, were they mostly just games, or were you ever lucky enough to get like consoles for Christmas, or did you have to use those as like combo gifts or anything?
Well, I only remember like the stuff I asked for. I wasn't always trying to be too greedy as a kid. At least I think. I don't remember. I might have been just the most greedy bastard on earth.
You were a greedy ass kid, because guess what? Every kid is greedy.
That's true.
As a parent, I think, dude, my kids are just the greediest fucking kids in the world. Like, they're just so selfish and everything. And then I asked my grandma, and she's like, you were absolutely the same way. I'm like, okay. Again, as long as I know that it's not just my kids that are like this, she goes, no, all kids are selfish. They're kids. They don't know better. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I think I was forced, actually, to, like, shrink my Christmas lists down and stuff.
Of course, yeah. So I'm sure you asked for ridiculous shit, too. Like,
probably.
My own TV, every PlayStation game. Dude, I remember somebody had, like, you always saw the kid with the Christmas list that said, like, every PlayStation game. Like, yeah, sure, kid, let's go fucking buy you 600 PlayStation games. That makes sense.
And, like, 200 of them are going to be, like, absolutely terrible.
200 of them are going to be Madden and NHL sequels, so that's what's going to happen.
Seriously. Yeah, really. You don't want that. Trust me.
You don't want Game Day 96, 97, 98, and 99, kid. Fucking get real.
Yeah. So, like, I'm trying to think of, like, big significant Christmas gifts. I was a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog as a kid. I was even into the adventure games, which I know some people just praise as, like, the shittiest fucking games on earth. And I'm just like, I can still play those games and have a good damn time. Like, seriously, to this day, I still just go through a nostalgia trip playing those damn games. But man, whenever I replay Shadow the Hedgehog, I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, Shadow was, yeah. So here's, again, I'll date myself and see how it'll show you how old I am. I worked in a video game store when all that came out.
Okay.
When Shadow came out. And Shadow the Hedgehog, I remember, like, it's Sonic with a gun. And everybody's like, who the fuck asked for that? Like, who?
10-year-old me asked for that.
What?
I'm not fucking kidding.
It's funny because it's literally like, what focus group did they get to go, what needs to bring Sonic to the masses? And I think maybe because Sega saw Grand Theft Auto and was like, everybody wants to shoot something. Fucking make a character where a character has a gun. That's probably what ended up happening. But
man, I'm telling you, right, here's some perspective for you. Me and every one of my friends were 10 years old when that game came out. We all fucking enjoyed the shit out of that. I'm just saying, like, the thought of, like, something that's for kids, but, like, it's got that edge to it because he's Shadow the Hedgehog, all that stuff, and he's got a gun, and we were just like, oh my god, I am one step closer to being an adult.
I've never heard somebody call him Shadow the Hedgehog.
Well, you're not on the wrong. You just did. Good job.
Now that's the thing in my head. Now, you know what the worst thing is? Like, things you can't unsee. Like, I'll never be able to say Shadow the Hedgehog ever again. Like, it'll just be the Edgehog, and then you'll get that, like that groan. Just,
really
again, man, I had a Genesis, so I played all the Sonic propers, if you want to say 1, 2, 3 Knuckles. Like, I played those. Oh, totally. Played Sonic CD. Never played the adventure games, even to this day. Never played them. Not because people told me they were shitty. It's just like, didn't have a Dreamcast, didn't get around to Sonic 2 when it went to like everything else, or Sonic Adventure 2. I never got to, I just was like, I got other shit to play. So,
yeah, well, at your age, you're not going to appreciate them, that's for sure. I really feel like those who really like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, I also know, I think, James from the Life of Gaming podcast also talked to me about how he loved Sonic Adventure 2 as well. He's like 10 years older than me, so there's kind of that sort of gap as well. But it's just like a lot of those games we played as like the fans played as kids
Yeah.
who were like, yeah, but now as an adult you think, oh my god, this dialogue's cringy, oh my god, this story's stupid, like some of this gameplay is just god awful, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna bother defending these games. Like, I just have a nostalgia.
But also, but the thing is too, though, is, I mean, to be honest, that's the case with any sort of media, right? Like, I mean, it just depends on what you grew up with. Like, I love, like, of course, I grew up during an era of rap rock, like Limp Bizkit and Korn and Slipknot and all that. So that was super popular when I was a kid. So I love the shit out of those bands. I grew up on the original Power Rangers, which was the shit. And yeah, but again, like, now, even me as an adult, I go back and watch, like, my son was all jazzed to watch Power Rangers. And he's like, Dad, they have all of them on Netflix. And I was like, oh shit, they have the original ones? And I watched them, and they're so bad. They're so bad. And nostalgia cannot make them good. They just aren't. And again, though, but again, as me growing up, that's my thing. Like, my son's thing is going to be Minecraft and Ark Survival and all these games that he's playing now. Those are going to be the games that his staple of, whereas my staple games are Mortal Kombat and, you know, SmackDown and No Mercy and, like, everybody just, your dad listened to classic rock and you're like, Dad, that's old music. I listen to new music. But to him, that's not old music. That's the shit he grew up with. So everybody's going to have that no matter what kind of, you know, if it's games. Now, games are just the newest of those mediums. So it's like, it's just going to be very different gameplay styles depending on what age you are and what you prefer. Like, the fact that there's games where you create and build, like Minecraft, I have no fucking interest in them. My son can't get enough of them. Like Ark, you can build your own base and do all this crazy shit, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Don't want to do it at all. Like, I don't have interest in it. I'd rather have a game that drives me where to go. Like, but again, he finds that shit boring, so it's all right.
It's okay. He's wrong, but he's okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. He's completely wrong. But
I have two little brothers who are, they don't live with me, thank God. But no, I love them so much. But they're kids, you know.
No, I know kids very well. I just had to go take one upstairs. Yeah, I definitely know kids.
Yeah, the one's about to turn 10, the other's about to turn 6 or 7, I think. No, 7. They're doing the math correctly. So, like, seeing them, like, they're not really gamers, but they still love games. Like, when I got the Switch, my oldest little brother was just like, oh my god, you got the Switch, this is the coolest thing. And then he was playing it, and man, when I showed him Minecraft on that thing, he lost his mind.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's
crazy.
Like your ultimate version of Minecraft is probably for the Switch, because it's a good portable version of Minecraft, I should say.
Yeah, like, here's how, like, man, his parents, my dad, my stepmom, they still give him Wii games. And I'm just like, come on, guys.
Yeah. I mean, well, again, like, and some people feel like, they're games, I'm just gonna give them the cheap stuff. And, like, some kids are happy with that shit, too. I mean, but then there's kids that are just like, my friends at school are playing on Switch, and they're talking about fucking Mario Odyssey, and I'm sitting here playing Galaxy, like, Dad, you're fucking up. What are we doing? Like,
yeah, I don't think he's missing anything though. Like, I don't think he's, I don't know, because I don't see him that often, but I don't think he's dying for like a PS4 or anything.
Oh yeah, so. I mean, like I said, I'm sure that's that pie in the sky thing on his Christmas list, like PS4, Xbox One, Switch, like all of the above. Like, I'm sure he has something outrageous like that on his list. Like, my son for the longest time had TV on his list, and I was like, yeah, fucking right. If I give you a TV in your room, you'll never leave until you save enough money to get one. And then now he doesn't leave. So that's what happens when you're 12 and you have your own Xbox One and your own TV in your room. You don't leave, period. But I mean, like I said, though, it's the cool thing is that eventually, yeah, when your brothers are 10 and 6, 10, he'll get there. But when I think, like, I want to say 9 or 10 is when my son started forming his own opinion about games. Like, he wanted to start buying games that I had never heard of. And that's when I was like, oh, you are starting to formulate your own opinion of what you would prefer to play. Instead of just basically playing the shit I bought, obviously within age limits or whatever. But playing the things I bought are my influence on him. Like, obviously my son loves Halo because I love Halo. And it's, you know, I mean, of course he's going to like Halo. I love Gears of War. He's never playing that shit until he's older. But, like, around 10 is when he started getting to that point. He's like, Dad, I want to buy Ark Survival. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, where did you even hear about that? And then he said YouTube, and I was like, of course you did. So, but yeah, and now he's got this whole slew of games that he prefers to play that I have zero interest in playing. But yeah, the 6-year-old is he's definitely just like playing whatever's available, probably.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Totally. I'm going to do the same thing to my future kids. I'm going to try and get them into I don't want to say the right things, but like, the stuff I loved as a kid. And now that most of these games are getting remakes, like Spyro and Crash, it's going to be easier, more accessible.
100%. Yeah, it'll be way, way easier and everything. And as long as hopefully Sony takes this route with their new systems going forward, but how Microsoft's pushing backward compatibility hard as fuck, which is
I hope so
good. Dude, you can pop in a fucking original Xbox copy of Morrowind, and it just works.
Crazy.
Like that's amazing. Good job, Microsoft.
Now it's such an alien concept. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Exactly. I just hope that everybody sees that Microsoft's trying. I mean, Phil Spencer said the reason why he wants to do it is to preserve gaming, because like if you don't have an Xbox, you can't go buy one. You can't, nobody's going to fix them. Like if that system's done, you can't play that shit. So he wants to kind of make a system that plays all of them, and hopefully that'll be good for our kids going down the line though, because, like I said, if you want to go play a certain copy of like a PlayStation 1 game legally, it's a bit harder to do. Thankfully, the internet has made it easier to do it by other means, which I will not describe on here, which I'm sure everybody listening knows what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's cool though that, like you said, the remakes are happening too, because I'm not going to say they're out of ideas, but now everybody your age is getting nostalgia about all the PS1 shit that's starting to get remade. Like, I'm sure when Crash got remade, you're probably like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like,
my reaction to that, man, I wish I wasn't in a public venue when I was watching the conference. It was during, because I go to E3, I've been going to E3 since 2016. We tried to get into the Sony conference, me and my buddy Chris, who I hope co-host my podcast with. We couldn't get into the conference, so we just walked over the nearest hot dog place, because there was this really awesome hot dog place in LA. So I just set my laptop and we watched it at a booth. And when Crash Bandicoot was, when they started playing the Crash Bandicoot music, I was like, I was making inaudible screams and just like blood curdling movements, like, oh my god, guys, it's happening. He's back.
Everybody has that game that causes that moment, and when you see it, like, again, the problem is as long as you're in context, like if you are around gamers and you see a gamer lose their shit over a certain game, it's like so happy. You're like, fuck, I'm so happy for you. The only problem is if you do that shit in a hot dog place where nobody knows what the fuck you're watching on the laptop, and you just start going, oh my god, like people just look, they were probably just staring at you hard. But again, it's LA. Somebody's fucking crazy.
I was a little well contained, but it was also it was an empty ass place too, so I wasn't too worried about looking like a fool. There was nobody there, really. Right. It was just me and my friend. But oh man, so we're talking about reactions. I love watching reaction videos, by the way. People talk crap about them, but it's just like when somebody's crying over something that they love so much, I just feel that too. Metroid is my all-time favorite video game series, period. Last year, it was just me, my buddy Conrad, who I run Commonwealth Realm with, and Alan in the background, my other friend, just in a hotel room watching the conference. Dead silence as Space shows up. And then Alan was not a big Metroid fan, so he was in the back covering his ears like, oh my god, please don't get us kicked out of this hotel. And me and Connor are just like screaming bloody murder. I literally lost my voice that week. I'm not exaggerating. That yell of pure joy like destroyed my vocal cords. I have a video reaction on YouTube if listeners want to watch.
I'll link that in the show notes. People can check that out. I'm trying to think of the last time I had that reaction. I think the only one, because I mean, for me, I have all the systems, but I prefer Xbox myself. And most of the time, I don't get, like, just because I'm so into the ecosystem and I'm so into news and I'm so into shit, most things don't surprise me, right? When they're like, Gears 4, I'm like, well, no fucking shit. Like,
yeah, it was gonna happen.
No shit. Oh, Halo 6 is coming out? No, really? I'm so shocked that's happening, right? So, like, most of the time, none of that shit surprises me. I'm just like, console reveals are a bit different because that's where you're like, what in the fuck is this thing going to do? Like, that's next level, because that's shit you really don't know. Like, you don't know how it's going to happen. But I think the last time that I lost it was when when Phil Spencer announced backward compatibility for 360 games. I fucking freaked. I was like, what the? I just stood up in my house. I was like, what the fuck did he just say? And I was like, yo! and then, like, the best part was, and it sounds ridiculous, but I've rewatched him announce it over and over on YouTube before, just because I'm like, I want to
done that
again.
I've done that so much.
But when he announced it, the best part was, like, there's a teleprompter that he's reading off of. So some people are reading the teleprompter ahead of him. So, like, there's a couple people in the audience that are just like, like, get freak out before he actually says it. And it's so fucking good. And every time I hear him, like, every time I see that announcement and people losing their fucking minds, I'm just like, yes, that's, like, exactly what I want. And yeah, like, and again, it sucks because, like I said, I'm so into gaming news and all that now that most things, when they announce them, they don't surprise me.
Yeah.
You know, certain things I'm like, oh, okay. But again, if it's something I'm really into, like, pretty much if they announce some next level shit at the Xbox conference, I'm like, whoa, that was, yeah. But the last one, hands down, that backward compatibility.
It's crazy.
It
was crazy.
Yeah. But I do like seeing them. Like, I know, I watch a lot of the Kinda Funny content, and Tim Geddes losing his shit over Crash, losing his shit over Metroid. He just freaks out. Greg losing his shit over Patapong being remastered for PS4. Because again, it's just that one game that he fucking loved on PSP. He's like, Patapong's amazing. And he talked about it for so long. Greg Miller was like, just remake Patapong for PS4, give me trophies, and I'll be so fucking happy. And then, like, it was weird because it was when they announced Parappa the Rapper coming back, and then there was just like a side thing. They're like, oh, by the way, Patapong Remastered is happening. And he's just like, like, he just fucking screams so
I've never
loud.
seen this. I need to watch it.
So fucking good. And again, it's just like a side announcement. It wasn't like the main focus. It was like, Parappa the Rapper is getting remade. By the way, here's Patapong. It was Patapong and Loco Roco, but he saw Patapong and he just, like, fucking screams so loud because he's just so excited. And again, it's just that thing that we all have that thing in common where we love video games, but certain things absolutely trigger that.
Exactly. Because it's like, me with Metroid, it's just like, there hasn't been a good game in 10 years. 11 now. Now I'm just like, oh, thank God, like, it's not dead. Like, seriously.
Yeah, Nintendo finally getting their shit together with the Switch, and, like, dude, they're starting to get to the point where until they talk about that online service, they can't fuck up. You know, they can just keep saying, you know, Smash getting in that. Like, that was another one that I'm sure people lost their shit over. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Like, the just the most recent one, like the Nintendo Direct that they just had, where the Splatoon dudes were just fucking shooting around, and all of a sudden look over and the Smash logo shows up, and you, again, those reaction videos are fucking awesome when you see people just freak out. They're just like,
nobody saw it. It was a March Direct, and nobody makes huge announcements in March like that.
Yeah,
ever.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, oh hey, we're gonna drop Smash, and then me included, I was just like, before the Direct, guys, this is a March Direct. They're not gonna announce Smash Bros. Come on.
Yep.
And then they did. If you see my reaction video of that, it's not nearly as good as my Metroid one. I was mostly in silence because I was like, wow, they actually did it. I didn't think they would do it.
Well, then, like, especially, like, certain reveals when they happen, like, depending on when it happens as well as another thing. Like, they said Smash, and then they were like 2018, and people were like, what the fuck? That shit's coming out this year? That's awesome. Like, that same thing happened with... The only thing that made it better for the 360 one when they announced the backward compatibility for that was I was in the alpha program. I'm in the alpha program for preview updates. And they literally said preview members will have access to this today. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was just like so pumped. I was like, yes, this is so good. So yeah, like that's another thing I would hope to have happen more is blah, blah, blah. And it's available now. Like, that's something that doesn't happen often, which for some things I get, but like demos of shit, that's where it needs to happen. Like demos.
Yes.
Like, or like downloadable betas or whatever. Just be like, you know, here's Smash Brothers, we're showing it off, and there's a demo that's available today. If people would fucking freak out. And then every gaming news website would hate it because they're at E3 covering a ton of shit already, and now they have to drop it. They're doing a demo this, and Yeah, that's the worst thing is like when people said that shit, they announced something at E3 or when games come out the week of E3 and like you have to review that game while being like people are just like, yeah,
complete crap.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to do that shit. So obviously you grew up. PlayStation 1 was a big thing. You played 64 and everything. Where did you kind of progress from there?
Well, first of all, I started telling a story about how I was introduced to Ocarina of Time, and I kind of do want to finish that.
Yes, go back.
When I walked into Hyrule Field while playing that game, I was like, "What? There's no walls. It's just open spaces."
Yep.
Because you didn't get that on PlayStation 1 like often, like or at all. It was just pretty crazy, and that's like I didn't become a Zelda fan yet. But we'll get to that later in a second. So when I went from there after PlayStation 1, I was also gifted a Super Nintendo. So that was also really exciting. Nice. And at that point, I didn't give a shit if games were 2D or 3D. I was just like, I want to play a good game.
Right.
So I was like really into Super Mario World, like the best platformer ever made. Don't care what you say. Yeah. I actually had a debate with that where what was it? Super Mario World lost over to like I think it was like Majora's Mask or something, and I was like, that's bullshit. Like, you guys suck. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only debate I had for the longest time internally was Mario 3 or Mario World, and the answer is Mario World.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is.
It just
does. They're both amazing games, but World just did things better.
World's like, holy shit, this game is ridiculous. Yeah. Still good.
Exactly.
Still good.
Yeah, and I also played I didn't play a lot of exclusive Nintendo games on the SNES, but there was a lot of licensed games that came with my SNES, but they were good ones. Back then, there was a lot of really good licensed games.
There were still some trash ones, but there were good ones back then, yes.
Super Star Wars, all those 3 games. Have them all. So good.
Well, example, that was like around PS1 is where licensed games were trash. They just weren't good. Like, so many of them were not good. Like basically, if it had a movie, it had a game, which definitely did not need. Like some movies did not need games, but for some reason they still had them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And after the Super Nintendo, I don't want to say after because it's not like I played these systems in chronologically.
Right. Exactly.
Ignored the PlayStation completely. My dad got from a coworker a promotional DVD for the Nintendo GameCube, and like it had, I think they have like a full like video of everything the DVD had on YouTube, and I need to watch that again because oh my god, that DVD was hype, yo! It was hype. They had
we didn't have YouTube to hype shit. We had promotional DVDs, and before that, promotional VHSs. Shout out to Donkey Kong Country.
Oh man, for some reason, like I borrowed a friend's one. I don't know why, but Metroid Prime. Like I didn't get into Metroid much later until like 3 years. I'd say like 3 years after that, still because it was a teen game and I wasn't a teen. So yeah, I was.
Yeah, were your parents strict on the content of what games you were playing, or like were they aware of the rating system and aware of content that was in each game?
They were very. I was aware of the rating system, and I was afraid of pissing my parents off. So
fair enough.
Yeah, so I was like, so when I got my GameCube for my birthday, like not long after I got that promotional DVD, which just got me so hyped, I was gifted 3 games with it. Mario Party 4, one of my favorite Mario Parties for that reason. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, also one of my favorite licensed games, and I think it is the reason why I'm a huge Harry Potter fan today, just because I'm a huge nostalgic person. I live too much in the past, so there's that. But the other one was Turok Evolution.
Oh my god.
And that was an M-rated game, and I was like, oh, it's rated M for mature. I shouldn't have this.
So did you ever play it, or were you kind of like, oh man?
Oh, I never touched it.
I was gonna say,
and then and then I played it later, and I was just like, it is so good. I did not play this game as a kid. I would be traumatized. That game is just way too bloody for its own damn good, even for when it came out, 2002, 2003, and it was just like, oh my god, like, you're so excessive.
Yeah, well, that's the big difference with you, because, like, obviously you were younger at a time when 3D graphics were getting more realistic. Like, that's the thing is, like, when I was a kid, Mortal Kombat was the most violent thing, which, you're ripping people's fucking skulls off, and you're uppercutting people until they die in spikes, and, there's graphic shit. The thing is that the visuals of it were like comical. You know what I mean? It was just like, it's a cartoon. It doesn't look like real things, like real life. Now you play Grand Theft Auto 5, that shit looks real. Like,
it does.
It looks super real. And it gets to the point where that's where it's easier for a younger mind to be influenced by that rather than back in the day when, dude, like Night Trap. Did you ever hear about, that? You ever see that shit? It's fucking hysterical. It's hysterical.
I've only seen like trailers and shit. I know it's coming to the Switch too, and it's already out on other current gen consoles. But like, it looks hysterical. Like, I need to have like a little Night Trap party where it's just me and a buddy is just laughing at that shit.
I mean, you can basically watch a playthrough on YouTube because it's just a bunch of full motion video. Like, there's not really much gameplay, quote unquote, to it, because that was back when CDs, like, full motion video was the shit. Which, by the way, it was the size of like a postage stamp on your TV. It was fucking stupid.
It was shit. It was not the shit. It was just shit.
It was awful. But again, back in the day, that was groundbreaking. That was amazing. Mm-hmm. But no, like but like back then, people thought that was going to warp our minds because that was the most realistic representation of it. Mm-hmm. I can't, like, that's why I don't want my son playing certain games, because I'm just like, dude, it just looks too real. Like, it looks too good. Gears of War 4 in 4K looks fucking amazing. But when you shoot a person and they chunk into pieces and you're kicking around pieces of things on the floor, you're like, shit. Like, that looks really good. But man, if a kid saw this, it might fuck his world up a bit.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So I can imagine.
Just the mere guilt of playing that game. Well, I would just feel, you don't understand how afraid I was of pissing my parents off. Like, seriously, a lot of kids didn't understand that. They were like, oh my God, you actually listen to your parents? And I'm like, fucking yes.
They put my parents, goddammit.
Yeah, they put a fucking roof over my head and shit, and all I gotta do is just listen to their, like, rules, and there weren't that many of them, so.
Right.
Hey guys, being a kid's easy. Did you know that?
Yeah, exactly. Good for you, man. Like, you get those kids that are just badass kids that don't want to listen to their parents and they don't want to listen to rules, but, good for you for respecting your
Watch,
parents.
my mom's listening to this and she is like, he's so full of shit right now. Like, I probably did things that I don't even remember.
Well, again, real quick, you were a kid at one point in time. You didn't have an adult brain of, responsibilities and respect and all that stuff. So every kid did terrible shit because you were a kid. It's okay.
Exactly.
You can't. Now, if you do terrible shit when you're an adult, you're a bad person. But when you're a kid, you're
yes.
a kid. Like, you don't know better. So that's
exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So super hyped over GameCube. Played the shit out of that. Did you, obviously you continue to have friends growing up, like you had the one friend, like you said, that's been your friend forever. Did your friends kind of go with other devices like you had before, where like other friends were playing with PS2 or Xbox to where you got to experience other things?
Throughout like elementary and middle school, we were sticking to like the same things basically. Like, I got a GameCube, he got a GameCube, a bunch of my other friends got GameCubes. Like, we all had a GameCube back in those days, so we were all playing. I wasn't really into Smash until around 2007 when the Wii was already out. So that was I actually, funny story, I actually got Smash Bros. Melee because I heard a rumor that Sonic was going to be in Smash Bros. Brawl, so I was getting ready for Brawl, and so I flipped my shit when I found out he was actually coming to Brawl, so that was really exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we stuck around with that. When I got a Wii back in Christmas 2006, which was also when I became a Zelda fan because I got Twilight Princess with that game. So that was like Christmas of 06 was like huge defining moment of who I was, like, as a gamer, as a Zelda fan mostly, because that was the first Zelda game I really got to play, got to dive into. I didn't play it at our friend's house; it was my own, and now I play it now, and I'm just like, oh man, why is this intro so long? Oh man, why did they do this and that? But that game still holds a special place in my heart. Dungeon design is top notch in that game, just so top notch.
It's really good. Yeah, like, you're right. It's just weird too, because like the only thing that concerned me about preserving games from like the Wii era ish is like stuff like Waggle. That concerns me. But I mean, obviously they're doing certain things right with certain games, just depending on if they're able to get the controller schemes right and shit. So
that's what worries me too, because a lot of my friends, currently a lot of my other YouTuber friends are like, they should make Skyward Sword HD, and I'm like, do you know how hard that would be to do? Because you would have to take out the motion controls, and that game was literally designed around motion controls.
Yeah, that's the whole problem with that whole genre. And same thing when it comes to, I wouldn't say as bad, but with like DS games or 3DS games, converting them, only because the Switch is touchscreen. If you want to count that bullshit thing that's on the PS4 controller as a touchpad, fucking nonsense.
That's so bad.
I cannot stand it. I don't like it. I never have. I remember, like, again, like, when they announced DualShock 4, it's funny because out of all the PlayStation controllers, the DualShock 4 is my favorite one.
Of course. I think it's most people's.
It is the best one that they've made. Like, when you finally got the sticks, even though they're still not Xbox sticks, but when you have the concave instead of the convex, like, good job. You got something right. The triggers have the little swoop to help keep your fingers not from slipping off. Good job. You did that right. But then you put this god-awful touchpad on here, and you put a light on there that makes the battery life 5 hours. Real stupid moves. Anyways.
I've had arguments with Bobby and Chris about, like, the PlayStation 4 controller, because, like, yeah, it has the battery life problems and the touchpad, but even then, the touchpad's not nearly as bad as the Wii U gamepad screen at all.
No.
And I'm just like, because I'm still dying on that hill of DualShock 4 is just better than Xbox One controller. I'm sorry. But,
I mean, again, everybody has their own opinion. Doesn't mean you're right, but...
I was waiting for that.
Oh, no, dude, I'm sorry. The Xbox One controller is literally, I'm not kidding you, the Elite controller is the greatest controller I've ever held. It's
and how much ridiculous.
Does it cost? Yeah. Yeah, it's up there. But also, too, even the regular Xbox controller, like, the only thing that I don't know, I'm not going to say I won't knock Sony for it, but, like, the very first Xbox One controller that came out had problems. Like, the RB and LB was kind of shitty if you didn't push more on the inside. It didn't have the headphone jack built in. You had to buy an adapter. So then, without, like, they just upgraded it. Like, just middle of the generation, they were just like, oh, by the way, now all the controllers have the headphone jack built in, and we fixed the LB-RB thing. And then even later, they added Bluetooth to all of them, so you can use them on PC, and they added this, like, textured grip to the back of it. And I'm like, good for you guys, because you guys are recognizing, hey, as throughout the life cycle, hey, people don't like this or this or this, and they're trying to fix it. Dude, you're telling me you haven't made a PS4 controller with twice the battery life yet? Seriously? Like, or have an option without the goddamn... Dude, the light can't be draining the battery that bad. It just can't be.
No, okay. I really want them to take into account that with PS5, and I think they're going to learn, because I just feel like Sony's just doing a whole lot right lately.
They are. They just, and the only thing that's funny is I have two PS4 controllers, and it sounds stupid, and it sounds really like a first world problem, but I literally have a second one, so when the first one dies, I can put the fucking first one down and just grab a second one and just play
That is the pettiest shit, man.
No, I'm just kidding. Let me rephrase that. Problem. I have a second one for 2-player games, but I quickly started using it for that. I'm just like...
I know, like, I knew that's what you meant. I knew you didn't buy it just to do
that. No, I'm not that fucking... No, I definitely... yes, I would have just sat there and charged it and everything. But it is quite annoying especially when you're in the middle of, like, God of War, and I'm like, fuck, this game is awesome. And it's like low battery. I'm like, low battery? What the fuck, man? I haven't been playing this for this long. And then all of a sudden it's like battery dead. I'm like, fuck this. Throw it in there. Could I have one of those charger docks? Just throw it on the dock, grab the other one, let's go.
It's so weird. Sometimes when I get the low battery notification, sometimes it lasts for another hour.
Yeah,
and I'm
right,
like,
exactly.
How does this happen? How do you let this happen?
I don't know, but again, like, I just, everybody has their own preference with that. But I will say my DualShock 4 is my favorite of the Sony controllers, even with that stupid ass touchpad and whatever. Like, it's just they got the things that I hated about the DualShock, right? So, like, just the analog sticks and the R2 and L2. Like,
man, the DualShock 3 was a nightmare. Good lord.
Didn't you have fun playing games with motion controls? Wasn't that the blast?
Fuck you.
That shit sucked, dude.
Even then, like, PlayStation 3, a lot of the PlayStation 3 games I got a PS3 later down the line, but it was the year before the PS4 came out, so that was really late. The only game I really played with a huge emphasis on motion aiming was just Uncharted 1, where you had to...
with the grenades? Like, fuck that. That was the worst. And then they patched it, and I was like, good for you guys.
So glad they got rid of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, even now, like, I don't know one PlayStation 4 game that's using the touchpad other than a select button.
Essentially, I mean, like, it really is not doing anything different. It's like the only thing that still throws me off, and again, I just don't. I play my PS4, but I play the exclusives, Horizon, Uncharted, whatever, God of War. I still get weirded out when I go to hit because I'm used to Xbox, hitting the select button, quote unquote, and I keep hitting share, and I'm like, fuck.
I hate that shit so much.
Share. I'm like, God, I don't want to share shit. I just want to play this game. I just want to go upgrade Kratos. Why am I hitting this button? God damn it.
For real. Yeah. That was piss poor.
That's fine. But anyway.
The Switch Pro controller though. Best one.
Dude. It's a copy of the Xbox One controller, except for the battery life in that thing is astoundingly good.
It's like 40 hours, dude.
It's
That's
so
nuts.
good. And as soon as I started playing, like, I'm one of those people where I have a Switch. I mostly play it, though, docked, sitting on my couch with a Pro controller.
Interesting.
I work from home. You know what I mean? I don't travel that much. I have kids. Mm-hmm. My kids will take it to the couch and play with it and stuff. But there's been moments where I've seen my son prop the Switch on the ground with the kickstand while sitting in front of it with the Pro controller. Because he's just like, Dad, this thing is so much better with a Pro controller. I'm like, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
My only gripe is that it doesn't have analog triggers. But, whatever.
Yeah. The one thing I've found out quickly with playing with snipper clips with my wife, and I made this comparison in my head, and I'm going to throw it at you and see how you feel.
Okay.
Playing with the Joy-Cons feels like Joy-Cons taken off the console, right? So just in your hand without the well, not just sideways, but like even holding it without, the grip or just holding it in your hand, right? That feels, compared to the Pro controller, that feels like the equivalent of back in the day when you had the official Nintendo GameCube controller and then you had that third-party bullshit controller that nobody liked. That's how I feel when I play with the Joy-Cons separate from the Pro controller. Because, like, me and my wife were playing snipper clips the other day, and of course, I don't want to hand her these controllers and try to explain shit. I'm just like, here's the Pro controller. That looks like a normal controller. You go ahead and use that. And I'm playing snipper clips with the Joy-Cons, and I'm just like, oh man, I really wish I had another Pro controller right now because I don't want this shit. Like, it's just, they're just not as good as that Pro controller is. Like, it's so good. Mm-hmm. However, Nintendo sure does like to charge for that Pro controller. Like,
it's worth it though, dude.
It's really good, but holy shit. It's like,
it goes on sale a lot though.
It does.
I've seen it go on sale a lot.
It does. But you catch that thing off sale, man, you're gonna, what is it? Is it 80?
No, it's well, maybe with taxes it's closer to that, but it's 70, like $69.99.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's up there, but I mean, like you said, again, as soon as you play with it, you're like, no, dude, this thing's really nice.
You can't go back.
70. Yeah, I mean, like right now, what was it? Oh shit, actually, hey, quick tip, people. Best Buy sells a Geek Squad certified refurbished Pro controller for $47.
Damn, son.
Yo, hop on that. That's not a bad deal.
No, it isn't. Oh my God! Once you go Pro, you never go back.
You seriously don't. It's so good. But again, Nintendo did the same bullshit that PlayStation did with that like screenshot button. I'm like, I don't need a button for screenshots. Stop.
At least that one doesn't like take you to a menu.
Correct.
And then,
it doesn't take
like
you away
a
from
menu
the
3 seconds after you press the button.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
just like snip. Oh, damn it. Okay. There's the select.
Yeah. It's
button.
like screenshot taken. Like, it's not what I wanted, but I guess that'll look like it dumped. At least it doesn't auto upload or anything.
Seriously,
to like something, because that would just be awful. Just get a bunch of terrible screenshots nobody looked for. But yeah, I mean, everybody, dude, I'm about to hop on that certified refurb. $47.99.
Hopefully it's a good refurb, because I know some people don't refurb their things that well.
Yeah.
But
if not, I'll just chuck it at a Best Buy employee and say I want my money back. Yeah,
exactly.
That works. So in a way though, like you were mentioning earlier with your friends, how you guys kind of stuck with the same console and everything. So did you stick with Nintendo going, like, obviously you said later on in the life cycle, right near the end, you got a PS3, but did you kind of stick with Wii, and did you try to make the Wii a good console?
Oh yeah, and I got made fun of for it a lot. Like, I think that's where a lot of my my Nintendo pride comes from, is just always being told, bro, the Wii sucks. It's not even HD. It doesn't have good graphics, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, well, have you fucking played, like, these games and stuff? Mario Galaxy? Exactly. No. I stuck with the Wii longer than most of my other friends did. I wound up buying a 360 late 2009, like right after Christmas, which was awesome because, 360 was a shit back then. So I played a lot of Halo 3 with my friends, some Gears here and there. So that was mainly my primary console that generation. Like, but I did have a Wii for like 3 years before that. So it was like the Wii was my primary system for a while. And there are a lot of good games on the Wii, but the problem with that was they came out like far apart between each other. There was a lot of shovelware on the Wii.
So much shovelware. Like, that felt reminiscent of PS1, how like it just felt like PS1 just had so much shit on it, like so many just terrible games on it, and the Wii was just getting... I mean, the problem was, it's not a problem. Obviously, Nintendo didn't feel it was a fucking problem. They sold 100 million of them, but like,
yeah,
the Wii was so mainstream and so casual that it took away from the hardcore Nintendo people. Like, when you had an E3 conference, and this is where I was just like immediately like, I bought don't get me wrong, the very first console of that generation I bought was a Wii. So nice. I was in the same boat. My buddy Mike hates me for it forever, but I bought a Wii because like Mike's like, hey, get a 360. What the fuck's wrong with you? You loved your Xbox before. Why are you not getting a 360 first? You need to get
because the 360 doesn't have Metroid Prime 3, man.
Yeah, no, but like I was like, no, I want to get a Wii because I want to play Zelda, but also I was like, my wife was really big into like Mario Party, WarioWare, like Mario Kart, like those types of games. So I was like, my wife and I can play, and this will be fun. And then I bought it. Like, I was one of those assholes that called every store every day trying to get one, blah, blah, blah. Ended up getting it. And again, like, I played Zelda, beat Zelda, great game. WarioWare came out, but then there was just droughts of fucking Dead and just shovelware and all this shit coming out. But then, like, as soon as Nintendo caught wind of, like, Wii Fit selling well, they were like, what else can we do? And then they just went to fucking Wii Music, and they just stopped giving a fuck about Zelda and Mario and all these games. And, you know, yeah, they still happened, but that wasn't their primary focus anymore. Their primary focus was grandma and grandpa who bought it for fucking Wii Sports, or, you know, the little girls that were all of a sudden getting it because they had Just Dance and cheerleading games and shit. Like, they were starting, but again, it worked for Nintendo, and I get why they did it, because why the fuck would you not cater to people who bought your shit? Like, I get it.
Exactly.
But you were straight shitting in the face of everybody who wanted a good, for like, first party Nintendo game every year. Like, you know, Metroid came out, Mario came out, Skyward Sword came out, but like, some people were like, yeah, it's funny because like, that game got a 10 on IGN, and people look back and go, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like, why would
they were talking about that on IGN's Nintendo voice chat one day. They were like, yeah, it's not a 10, but it's still a really good game. But they were like, yeah, of course they were like, maybe in retrospect that wasn't the best thing to give it.
And you know what bums me out, and I don't want to say this because I haven't beaten it yet, but some people feel that about God of War. Some people feel, yeah, like, I've heard people say that right now it's so just hyped, and it's so good, and it's on a current console, and it's on a very popular console, that people are just giving it a 10 out of 10 when it's really not a 10 out of 10 game. I cannot attest to that, only because I'm maybe halfway through. It's a very fun game. We'll see how the story plays, and if I think that's a 10 out of 10, but to give a game a 10 out of 10 is like a big deal, because most games
very ballsy.
Don't fucking, you can't say that about most games. Like, honestly, Last of Us is a 10 out of 10. It is. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, that's the last game that, in my opinion, without any controversy, I can say that is a absolute 10 out of 10 game. It's fucking so good. It's ridiculous.
What am I trying to say? The one game, like, because I've written for a bunch of websites and stuff. I'm writing for a website right now, of course. The last game I remember giving like a perfect score was freaking Shadow of the Colossus Remastered, which was just like, well, of course, it's how do you make a great game even better? Of course, it's gonna be like damn near perfect. And to those people talking crap about God of War, it's just like, I honestly feel like, yeah, it is getting a lot of 10s, of course, but I beat the game.
I don't think they're talking crap. I think it's just to throw 10 out of 10 on something is not easy to do, and it's just not common, and some people feel Oh, well, also too, that's a lot of Xbox fanboys because they're fucking stupid. But
of course,
they'll just go, "Oh, it's a PlayStation exclusive game. It's on the most popular console. Everybody loves God of War. Of course, they're gonna give it 10 out of 10." I'm like, well, maybe it's a good game. We don't fucking know. Like, if you don't play it, you can't. And that's why I'm not saying it is or isn't because like I'm halfway through and I'm having a good time. It's different than other God of Wars, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad. It's just different. Yeah. So, the only thing that throws me off is just because I don't have as long to play games. And when I go and I find out it's like 18 hours, I'm like, fuck. Like, that's actually longer than I was expecting to play this game for, but all right, let's go. Yeah. But no, and like other games, like for example, Mario Odyssey. A lot of people gave that a 10 out of 10. Not saying it's a bad game, but to me, I was just like, that game's good, but I don't think it's 10 out of 10. I think it's 9 or 8, but like to throw 10 out of 10 on some shit is like, again, you have to be, that's like, holy shit, you guys said that's a 10 out of 10, really? And I guess it depends on who it is too. You know what I mean?
Of course, you know, people
IGN
and their opinions.
10 out of 10, people are like, holy shit, you guys stand behind a 10 out of 10 on that. And like I said, the only last one I think that I wholeheartedly, like, I just couldn't find a bad thing about was Last of Us. Like, I couldn't find a negative thing I can say about that game. Like,
I honestly feel like, when it comes to God of War, I feel like the game, I beat the game. Of course, I'm still going through some side quests, but I actually feel like it is deserving of a 10 out of 10.
That's awesome.
Like the problems I have with that game, I don't think I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 in my review, but, like the only problems I really have with that game are just like, sometimes the camera's a little wonky during combat. Sometimes the exploration isn't that fun, but at the same time, it's not like a huge open world game. It's a corridor based game.
Yeah, because a 10 out of 10 doesn't mean perfect. It just means that like it is something that is deserving of one of the best games ever made.
Like Breath. What was that?
No, I mean like Breath of the Wild got a 10 out of 10, and I think the game's great. Again, it's not even.
That game is so far from perfect.
Yeah, no, there's things about it that piss you off, and you're just like, and again, like I feel in a game if I get pissed off, I don't know if I can say it's a 10 out of 10. Like, I'm not saying a game should be easy, but I mean, like, if you feel like some shit isn't fair or right in the game, like, I don't know. I guess it's hard to say. It just depends on your. For example, people felt Cuphead was cheap, and fuck you, Cuphead's not cheap. Get good. No. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why Cuphead was not cheap. Because you had a clear reason why you died. There was never one time when I died in Cuphead that I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Not once. I was like, I died because of that. And I need to figure out how to get past that. It was never a, fuck this cheap fucking, like, bullshit. No. Stop. Cuphead was good. Even Cuphead. I love Cuphead. Was it a 10 out of 10? Absolutely not. No. Just most games, you throw 10 out of 10 in a game and you better have some shit to back it up to say it's good. I'm glad you felt that way because, again, so far I don't have... Yeah, like you said, though, I think me and my buddy said the same thing. Like, in God of War, the movement sometimes gets a little, like in the boat, like, the movement of the boat just seems weird.
It is weird.
It's a little weird. But, again, does it knock it from a 10 out of 10? No.
Yeah,
it's just one odd thing. My favorite thing is how everybody gave Metal Gear 5 10 out of 10. But
oh, my God. Such bullshit.
No. So here's the thing. In terms of gameplay, I felt the game was a 10 out of 10.
That's fair.
In terms of story, that game was a fucking -2. God damn it. No one can make sense of those stories. I don't care who you are. Hideo Kojima could not make sense of that story. Like, it just... I got to a point where I literally just started skipping cutscenes. I'm like, none of this fucking makes sense. I'm over it. I just want to keep playing this gameplay loop. Because the gameplay, in my opinion, the gameplay loop was fantastic. Just all that story shit was so bad. And I'm just like, but again,
he doesn't click with everybody, that Kojima. I personally like him a lot. But the story about that game is just what Konami decided to freaking cut, like, in mid-development. Like, there was supposed to be one big final boss, and there never was. So that game ended on such a weird note.
Dude, I remember when the game ended, I was like, what? What was the end? What? Like, it's just, again, it's just that story was so ridiculous and nonsensical. And
it is.
That's the one thing. But again, that gameplay, though, gameplay was good. Again, Last of Us is like the last 10 out of 10 that I felt like gameplay was good, story was good, characters were good. Like, everything was really, really good. Hopefully God of War will change my mind, and I'll think the same of that game.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Just a fair warning. There's a cliffhanger at the end, so you know they're going to make more games. So
well,
it's not going to be like...
I don't shit on games for cliffhangers because, I mean, in a way, Last of Us...
A lot of people do, but yeah.
Yeah, no, some people do. But in a way, Last of Us kind of did as well, because you're
very obvious cliffhanger in that one,
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm not going to talk about it in case you haven't played it, but if you haven't played it, quit fucking listening to my podcast.
It's so good. I used to talk so much crap about The Last of Us just because it was, when I played it, like when I beat it, I was like, oh, okay, that was really good. But then everyone's praising it like it's the second coming of Christ, and I'm just like, guys,
it's a really good game, though.
But now I'm just like, you know what? Let them have their fun, and I think I'm going to give it a third playthrough before the new one comes out too.
Probably the best thing is, and it hit my favorite so far as being a dad was my daughter. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she's like, "How good's The Last of Us?" I'm like, "It's incredible. You really need to play it." And I remember her playing it and just watching her face while she was playing it. It was like amazing. It was so good because she was just like looking at me during shit, and she's just like, oh. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, that's some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So good. So obviously you were a Wii holder, and then you got a PS3? Did you, and you, like you said, you started kind of going multi-platform though, but you kind of were a Wii apologist. You were like, no, it's good. Did you kind of go full multi-platform from there when it came to the newer consoles and everything? Like, obviously,
absolutely.
Wii U was kind of that half-step awfulness, but, dude, whatever. They got it right with the Switch.
Yeah, I still loved the hell out of the Wii U when I got it. Like, yeah, it was the same situation of this thing's collecting dust more than I'm playing it. But, like, whenever I am playing it, it's a really fucking good game that I'm playing.
Yeah.
And now those games are coming out on Switch. So, yeah.
Dude, I was going to say, Nintendo's brilliant for doing that shit. And, I mean, again, you can shit on Nintendo for just doing remasters or deluxe versions. But guess what? They made great games on a console that sold 13 million consoles. Like,
yes.
What do you think they should do? You have a console that's already sold more than the entire life of the Wii U in 1 year. You could easily just upscale it, throw all the DLC that was with it, sell that bitch for $60. Mario Kart Deluxe sold fucking like 10 million copies or something stupid. Like,
already more than the Wii U did.
Right. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? Why would they not do that? And that's why with Smash, when they were like, is it a new Smash or Smash Deluxe? I'm like, I wouldn't give a fuck if it was Smash Deluxe with some, like, new characters and new stages. Like, who cares? Like, Smash was good on Wii U. It wasn't bad at all. Like,
yeah.
It just, who gives a shit? Do that. The only one I was, like, really on was Tropical Freeze. I was like, really? Okay. We'll do that one. Captain Toad's coming, so who gives a shit, right? Like,
man, Tropical Freeze though. Oh my god, that game is incredible, and I'm so glad it's coming to the Switch.
Some people didn't like it, man. Some people were like, ugh.
Well, those people are fucking crackheads. Those people need to get good at that goddamn game. Like, oh my god. But
I mean, they're not. I mean, like, so okay. If we think about what other games were on Wii U that they could do that to, because honestly, they're not many.
What are the Wii U games?
Captain Toad was the last one that I thought was like, just say Captain Toad, and then the direct, they were like, Captain Toad's coming back. I'm like, fuck yeah, he is. Like, good. Like, Captain Toad, Mario Galaxy, or not Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart, right. Smash. Well, again, Smash is like the one thing, but honestly,
Smash is going to be like, what I'm thinking is they already used the engine from the Wii U game, so it's not going to be a remaster, but they're going to build on the same engine. Right, so
upscale it, sure, call graphics, more shit. Ice Climbers will be in it because you can't use that fucking excuse that they're not powerful.
Honestly,
not powerful enough. Knock it off. They will definitely be in it. I promise you, Ice Climbers are going to be in that new Smash Brothers game.
I promise you the same thing.
Yes, they are definitely going to be. But that's what I just thought about, like. Just thinking back on the good Wii U games, because like I'm trying to think what I had. Splatoon came out with Splatoon 2, which was essentially Splatoon 1 with a little bit extra.
Of course, yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of other stuff. Nobody wants new Super Mario Brothers U. Like,
absolutely not.
No one fucking asked for that.
You see, not everyone's asking for Mario 3D World, and I don't know if they will, but like I do want to. You see, because the 3D World formula works better on mobile. It doesn't work that well on the TV. I have problems with 3D World because, you know, it wasn't the 3D Mario game that Odyssey gave me eventually.
I was going to say, Odyssey was just way better, so why would you want to go back?
Exactly, yeah. But at the same time, there's still... Yes, that too. And there's still a lot of fun to be had in 3D World as well. But the one game that needs support, Devil's Third.
I'm sure that could, again, Nintendo is just going to take the top 10 Wii U games and remaster them. And guess what? They have every right to, because they unfortunately put it on a console that didn't sell that well, so they could put it on a console that does and sell a ton. So
yeah, and these
Bayonetta,
remasters
that's the other one. Bayonetta is coming.
Well, yeah, it already came out.
That's right. Yeah. Well, so 1 and 2 got remastered, and 3's happening.
3's yes.
Yeah.
And 1 and 2 got remastered. 3's happening. And I was joking about Devil's Third. The game's trash, dog shit, whatever. But man, there was another Wii U game I was thinking about that Wonderful 101.
Yes.
Like, that would be I think it'd be a harder port because that game utilized the touch screen on the Wii U. But like, oh my god, like Hideki Kamiya is a genius.
If they figured out how to get touch controls out of certain games, they'll figure it out.
Exactly. Maybe Pikmin 3, but I think they're just going to save for Pikmin 4. They might as well.
Yeah, they'll just have a new Pikmin come out, so that'll be all right. And then touchscreen for that game will be great on the Switch. Like, if you play it portable, that'll be nice.
That would be nice.
We'll figure out how that happens. So, so what are your gaming habits like today then? So you're playing everything under the sun, basically?
Yeah, I haven't touched my Xbox One in a long time. The only reason why I really have it is just because of a 4K Blu-ray player, but I don't even have a 4K TV, so fuck me, right? And
wait till you get one, you'll enjoy it.
Exactly. I really want a 4K TV this year. Like, I keep saying, the year before that, this is the year. Just kidding. The year before that, this is the year. Just kidding. But now this needs to be the year.
Yeah.
Red Dead 2. Come on.
Dude, that trailer came out today. Good God almighty.
I think there's going to be gameplay tomorrow. I think, because IGN said that they have a preview for it coming tomorrow. So, hope they show something.
I just want to see that on my Xbox One X in 4K.
Oh my god, really though, so good. Wait. I don't have any 4K consoles, and I don't think I ever will get them. But still, like, at least the PS4 is HDR, and that's all I really care about.
Which, by the way, awesome. Like, it's so good. Like, God of War in HD. Like, the 4K, sure, whatever. I mean, the Pro doesn't. Most games don't run native 4K.
They don't, yeah.
Anyways, but the HDR, honestly, HDR to me is more important than 4K is, and HDR on Horizon and God of War looked fucking astounding. So I was like, yeah, I'll be cool with this. I'll just keep my. I have the OG PS4. I don't plan to upgrade to the Pro. I did upgrade the X just because I was like, this is running native 4K, and like Far Cry 5 in 4K looks real good.
It does.
But yeah, I mean, get a 4K TV and then figure that shit out later. You'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So I am basically playing all that new stuff coming out. I'm trying to like not buy too many things, which is fine for me because like I get I'm a Nintendo brand ambassador anyway, so I get those games for free.
Nice.
In a sense, yeah, so that's really nice. I mean, like right now I'm not feeling too hyped because this first quarter of the year, this first half of Nintendo Switch year is like just mostly ports I've already played, but still like they're good. So, and I don't need to pay for them, so that's awesome.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and oh man, I'm just so excited for everything Sony's coming out with this year. Shadow of the Colossus was amazing. God of War is fucking incredible. Spider-Man is going to be...
Spider-Man's going to be so good.
Spider-Man's going to be amazing, because it's the amazing Spider-Man.
Did you really just say he's amazing because it's called Amazing? Stop it. That game's going to be really good. I hope it brings me Spider-Man 2 vibes from PS2 era, because that's still the best Spider-Man game.
It is.
I hope it does, but we'll see. I don't think that... Because real quick, and this is a complete Xbox thing, but Sunset Overdrive was so fucking fun, and the movement in that game was really good, and
so good,
so fluid. Wall running and the grinding on the wires and like all that crazy shit, and then you add web slinging to it. Done. Good job. That's awesome.
Exactly. That's why I was hyped when I found it was Insomniac, because I also played Sunset Overdrive, and I'm like, dude, they already nailed Spider-Man movement.
Yeah, basically
like,
they got the movement going really well, and like, yeah, just. They could just build on that, and they'll make a great game. What you need is somebody to give you a hookup on Xbox Game Pass and just fucking ride that bitch till the brakes come off. Because, again, when they announced all the first-party titles were going to Game Pass day one, I was like, yes, please. Because, again, I'm all about most of the exclusives that are on there, you know? Like, Sea of Thieves was fun, to be honest. I'm glad I didn't buy it. Thank you, Game Pass. Only because I just don't have time to play it. Like, Far Cry 5 came out like a week later. And the God of War came out. What do you want me to do? Like, sorry, I'll eventually get back to it, but no. But then there's State of Decay and Forza and Gears and Halo, and I like them. So thank you, Game Pass, for being cheap and letting me play all of them.
I hope State of Decay is really good. State of Decay 2.
It'll be fun, but again, my expectations for it aren't super high, only because I'm one of those. I've grown to accept games for just being good and not being next level coming of Jesus shit, because then you'll just be disappointed.
Yeah, that's fair.
just go into a game, like, if you see a couple screenshots in a trailer and you're like, that game looks fun, fucking go on media blackout. Don't look at shit. Just don't look into other people's opinions. Just go in there, play the game, and see how you like it. And that's why I think some people, fell hyped to God of War when they saw the 10s beforehand, and they were just like, oh my god, this game is going to be incredible. And then it had a flaw, and they were like, fucking piece of trash. Like, come on, guys. Like, I'm so sorry that you didn't like the movement of the boats, so you're not going to give it a 10 out of 10? Fuck off.
What's this? Texture clipping? This is next-gen bullshit.
What do you mean I have to run in this circle instead of load screens? How dumb. Like...
Really?
God, no, God. Man.
That was a clever usage of fast travel.
Yeah. Again, like, it's cool that there's certain tricks in there because there's no loading. Nobody should shit on that. There's no loading in that game, period, when you first start it up. And, like, again, they do different tricks, just like Mass Effect had the elevator trick. The only problem was the elevator trick lasted way too long.
Really, though?
Just way too long. But they have these little tricks that help out. And the fact that you're rendering that game without loading screens... Really good job, guys.
The fact that game runs in my launch day PS1, our launch day PS4s.
Yeah, basically, just right?
Yeah, like, it sounds like a vacuum when it's running the game, granted.
Yeah, it sounds pretty loud, but that's all right.
It's really good. It's probably, like I said earlier this year, that Shadow of the Colossus, the remake, is probably the best looking game I've ever seen on anything, period. But now I'm just like, I don't know, man. God of War looks really good. And same with Red Dead Redemption 2. That's looking also to be, like, the best game ever. Best looking game ever.
I think I want to say the best looking game I think I've ever seen is really hard to... I don't think I can say one particular game, because, like, certain games just are different for each reason, you know? Like, Sea of Thieves has the greatest looking water ever. Mm-hmm. You look out on the ocean, and it's incredible. Like, it is the best looking water you'll ever see in a game. Gears of War 4 in HD and 4K... or HDR might be the greatest, like, lighting I think I've seen in a game. It's insane how good it looks. Horizon and God of War, just for the vistas and how detailed things are. Like, it's just, there's a lot of good games that are out there like that. And the crazy shit is, I haven't even seen Horizon or God of War on like a Pro. I've just played them on my OG, day one PS4 or whatever, but they all look good. So that's all right. Of course.
Breath of the Wild is the best grass I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah, actually.
But the art, man, really though, the art style of that game is just gorgeous. Yeah. Like, seriously.
Cuphead, I appreciate every hand-drawn frame of that game. That's again, it's hard to judge, like, best look. You could look at Forza Horizon, or Forza Motorsport 7 was like, fuck. Like, this game looks real. Yeah. Like, it looks like real. Like, I love the photo mode in that game because it literally will trick people into thinking that's a picture of a real car. And it's not bullshit. Like, it will blow you away. You'll look at that and go, that's a video game. And you won't believe it, but it is. So, anyway, that's the only thing for me, too. Photo modes. I don't...
Photo modes.
For action games and shit, like God of War and Horizon, no. For, like, Forza, where you can, like, pose a car and do some shit, I think that's cool, but I'll just look at other people's shit. I don't have an eye for photography.
Photo mode and Shadow of the Colossus, though. Like,
yeah, that could be really good.
Yeah, because you're spending, like, 80% of that game just going to the next boss. So
yeah, exactly. You get these huge
plenty of time to take photos.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Totally.
If people wanted to check you out on the internet or any of the game consoles or any of that stuff, where would they go?
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FerrisWheelPro. You can find my video works on YouTube.com/Commonwealth Realm, where we cover Nintendo stuff all the time, basically, working on my Tropical Freeze versus Donkey Kong Country Returns review/competition. So that's going to be really exciting coming out this weekend. And I do a lot of things. I'm the jack of all trades when it comes to games. I write articles on nukethefridge.com, and you can visit us on that website and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NTF Games.
And if you guys want to check out any of the stuff he has there, I will have it all in my show notes as well. So,
dude, God bless you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for talking about game reveals and Christmas stories. That was really fun, and I appreciate it, man.
No problem. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
All right. And again, thank you, Joseph, for being on the show. If you guys want to follow him on Twitter, go ahead and follow him at Ferris Wheel Pro. You could also see all the links that he has there for his YouTube and for some of the other places that he works, so feel free to check him out there. If you guys want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. We also have many different avenues out there now. We have a YouTube channel. Just search up GUG Podcast in your search bar. You can find that right away. You can also find us on Facebook, Growing Up Gaming Podcast Group, so feel free to check it out there as well. And again, thank you guys so much for all your support. Feel free to subscribe on YouTube, like it on YouTube, share it, all the things that everybody else tells you to do. But it is nice because it gets more ears on the show, and that way everybody can enjoy this content. So thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. I hope you guys still enjoy it, and I will catch you guys next week. See ya.